Today's subject is Political Science, 5th, Unit 2. Today's topic is the First World War. World War I, also known as the Great War, began in 1914 after the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand of Austria. His murder catapulted into a war across Europe that lasted until 1918. During the conflict, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, the Central Powers, fought against Great Britain. France, Russia, Italy, Romania, Japan, and the United States, the Allied Powers, thanks to new military technologies and the horrors of trench warfare, World War I saw unprecedented levels of carnage and destruction. By the time the war was over and the Allied powers claimed victory, more than 16 million people, soldiers and civilians alike, were dead. A.F. Ferdinand, tensions had been brewing throughout Europe, especially in the troubled Balkan region of Southeast Europe for years before World War I actually broke out. A number of alliances involving European powers, the Ottoman Empire, Russia, and other parties had existed for years, but political instability in the Balkans, particularly Bosnia, Serbia, and Herzegovina, threatened to destroy these agreements. The spark that ignited World War I was struck in Sarajevo, Bosnia, where Archduke Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, was shot to death along with his wife, Sophia, by the Serbian nationalist Gavrilo Princip on June 20th, 1914. Princip and other nationalists were struggling to end Austro-Hungarian rule over Bosnia and Herzegovina. The assassination of Ferdinand set off a rapidly escalating chain of events. Austria, Hungary, like many countries around the world, blamed the Serbian government for the attack and hoped to use the incidents as justification for settling the question of Serbian nationalism once and for all. Kaiser Wilhelm, because mighty Russian supported Serbia, Austria-Hungary waited to declare war until its leaders received assurance from German leader Kaiser Wilhelm II. The Germany would support their cause. Austro-Hungarian leaders feared that a Russian intervention would involve Russian Italy, France and possibly Great Britain as well. On July 5th, Kaiser Wilhelm securely pledged his support, giving Austria-Hungary a so-called carte blanche or blank check assurance of Germany's backing in the case of war. The dual monarchy of Austria-Hungary then sent an ultimatum to Serbia with such harsh terms as to make it almost impossible to accept. World War I begins. Convinced that Austria-Hungary was readying for war, the Serbian government ordered the Serbian army to mobilize and appealed to Russia for assistance. On July 28th, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia and the tenuous peace between Europe's great powers quickly collapsed. Within a week, Russia, Belgium, France, Great Britain and Serbia had lined up against Austria-Hungary and Germany, and World War I had begun. The Western Front. According to an aggressive military strategy known as the Schlieffen Plan, named for its mastermind German Field Marshal Alfred von Schlieffen, Germany began fighting World War I on two fronts, invading French through neutral Belgium in the west and confronting Russia in the east. On August 4, 1914, German troops crossed the border into Belgium. In the First Battle of World War I, the Germans assaulted the heavily fortified city of Lille, using the most powerful weapons in their arsenal, enormous siege cannons. To capture the city by August 15, the Germans left death and destruction in their wake as they advanced through Belgium towards France, shooting civilians and executing a Belgian priest they had accused for inciting civilian resistance. First Battle of the Marne. In the First Battle of the Marne, fought from September 6 to 9, 1914, French and British forces confronted the invading Germany army, which had by then penetrated deep into northeast France within 30 miles of Paris. The Allied troops checked the German advance and mounted a successful counterattack, driving the Germans back to north of the Asian River. The defeat meant the end of German plans for a quick victory in France. Both sides dug into trenches, and the Western Front was the setting for a hellish war of attrition that would last more than 3 years. Particularly, long and costly battles in this campaign were fought at Verdun, December 1960, and the Battle of the Somme. German and French troops suffered close to 1,000,000 casualties in the Battle of Verdun alone. World War I books not the bloodied on the battlefield of the Western Front and the difficulties its soldiers had for years after the fighting had ended, inspiring such works of art and all quite on the Western Front by H. Marie Remarque and in Flanders Fields by Canadian Dr. Lieutenant Colonel John M.C. Cray. In the latter poem, M.C.K. writes from the perspective of the fallen soldiers. Visual artists like Otto Dogs of German and British painters Lewis Carroll, Nash and David Bomber used their first-hand experience as soldiers in World War I to create their art, capturing the anguish of French warfare and exploring the dangers of technology, violence, and landscape decimated by war.